Trapilo, and just
No.
a phenomenal draft pick breakdown. I mean, my God, can you get any better than Seth freaking Rollins?
Freaking Rollins.
It was from everything from the suit to the belt
Yes.
to the
Oh, I love the belt.
just the It's like, what?
3 minutes Wisconsin. Oh, loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And then after all of that, you come out with a player like Ozzy Trapilo, who, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of good picks in here. There's a lot of good weapons, but as somebody who was begging for the Bears to go offensive line in this draft, at some point, I'm a happy camper. Ozzy Trapilo, when you watch his game, when you watch his tape, he is a polished, power-oriented type tackle. I do think right now it's going to be a little tough to see him as a left tackle because the only time you saw him as a left tackle was when he was in his freshman year, and it was his worst year. But from the 2 years since then, he's continued to improve his game. Can he flip that over? I'm not going to limit him and say that he can't, but I think the one thing that you talk about with this guy is the pass block god that he can be. I mean, he uses his size and length perfectly, does not allow a lot of guys to get around him. He's got long arms, does a great job keeping pass rushers at bay. And when they do try to get around him, he just basically uses his body. Remember that Kevin Hart skit? This is literally kind of how I break down Ozzy Trapilo. Remember that Kevin Hart skit where he was like, the security was keeping him from getting in, and he was just kept going, "What you doing? Where you going? What you doing?"
Yeah. I forget.
Dog, like that is Ozzy Trapilo. Like it's literally like, "Oh, I got past his arm. What you doing? What you doing? Where you going? What you doing? You're not getting to the quarterback." I love this young man's ability in the pass pro game. I think it's where, to me, he shines out the most. I do think that he's a mauler. The more I watched him, right, I do think he's a mauler in the run blocking game. I think he comes off of the ball really well, good pad level. I think he generates a ton of push. Now at BC, right, you're not playing the best of the best every day, so that could play into it. We'll see kind of what that is at the NFL level. But the one thing that I do love about him, and listen, BC's running a pro-style offense, so I think that plays a lot into this.
There you go.
It's this young man's football IQ, which, of course, being a BC, right, you got to be a thinker. You got to be a little bit smarter to get into BC. This young man's football IQ, when you're talking about watching him coming off of, or when they're trying to blitz him, when he's dealing with stunts, when they're trying to throw double coverages at him, throw double teams at him, when like anything you want to say, even keel, he does not change. He is who he is. I think that the thing that he's probably going to have to work on, and he said this, we got to get our tackles to stop saying things. The thing that he probably is going to have to work on, though, is getting low enough with the pads when he's 6'8". Smaller guys are going to have a little bit more of an advantage on him. But we also are in an NFL where there's not a ton of like tiny defensive ends trying to get around the corner on you. I don't think he's going to deal with that nearly as much, but some of those 6'1", 6'2" guys, right, do have a little bit of an advantage. That's the thing where the coaching is going to have to take over. But to me, I get it that this is like a late second round pick here, but this is an A+ pick in my book. I think you nailed this.
Wow. I'm actually there with you. I loved this pick. Initially, I'll be honest with you, I had no idea who Ozzy Trapilo was as far as breakdown. But when I looked at your reaction to the pick, I said, okay, I know Pat knows his stuff, and I know Pat knows his tackles. And so when I did a little bit deeper dive, and then even looked at the initial press conference with him when he finally got to the Bears facility, he talked about the pros and cons of being a taller tackle, and I love the IQ on this guy, the clarity that he has. He said, hey, I'm a bigger guy. So, I mean, that gives me an advantage. Bigger guys, we're able to put on more muscle, more pounds, and we can move people. I'm a little bit stronger than the average Bear. And so that's what I love about this guy. He's consistent. He is even killed, as you mentioned, very balanced. And the immediate thing I saw when even the NFL broke him down, he says he's a day one starter at right tackle. You tell me that this guy is a day one starter, that means that he has the IQ and just the acumen of, okay, I'm gonna go about my business. You know, I may not be flashy, but I know how to get the job done. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Now, if there are certain things that he needs to work on, obviously, naturally, like you mentioned, he's a taller guy, 6'8", 319 or some odd pounds, mammoth of a man. And so, yes, there are times where maybe smaller, faster edge rushers will try to take advantage of him. But I think that over time, you're going to have yourself a very, very good guard, or rather tackle. And I think I saw a page where you could see why Ben Johnson likes him, because they compared him to Taylor Decker, who kind of has the same build and same, you know, as far as
like his measurables and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He's very
measurables.
similar.
Yeah,
He's almost identical if you talk about measurables to Taylor
yeah,
Decker.
yeah.
And listen, I think again, when you're talking about an immediate impact, right? I think it speaks to, this is probably the one pick where they'll give him time, right? You've got Karan Amagaji on the roster. You've got Braxton Jones on the roster. Eventually, you know, Braxton will come back and maybe he slots in as that starting left tackle. They're going to give, like, unless Ozzy just wins the left tackle job, he clicks right away for him. And they're like, well, it's your job now. Go win games. I would say this is the pick where maybe you can take a little bit more time with him, because to me, everything about him that we love does profile out as a right tackle. How long is it going to take him to figure out that left tackle role? I do think it'll happen at some point this season, hopefully. And he is smart enough, and I think that's why they're taking a chance here. He's smart enough to figure it out right away. It's just about, is the technique going to translate on that left side right away? Or do we see them move Darnell over to that left side, with him probably eventually being the highest paid tackle on this team, even though, right, like even with that, the highest paid tackle on the Lions is their right tackle. So like, you don't have to sit there and start just flipping mugs around just because, oh, well, we're paying them now, so put them on the left side. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I think this is, to me, this is probably my favorite pick of any player that we did make, just because I think it actually answered one of the biggest questions we had. Wide receiver wasn't a question, right?